5 seconds on Mars. Can you survive the red planet? Mars, the fourth planet from the Sun, has fascinated humanity for centuries. From ancient astronomers who saw it as a wandering red star to modern scientists sending rovers and planning human missions, Mars has always captured our imagination. But what if you suddenly found yourself standing on the surface of Mars with only 5 seconds to react? Could you survive? What would happen to your body, and how could you possibly increase your chances of survival? In this deep dive into Mars's extreme environment, we'll explore the planet's deadly conditions, how they would affect the human body in a matter of seconds, and what it would take to endure longer in one of the most inhospitable places in our solar system. One of the first things to consider when thinking about survival on Mars is the atmosphere, or rather, the lack of a breathable one. The Martian atmosphere is about 100 times thinner than Earth's, and is composed primarily of carbon dioxide, with trace amounts of nitrogen and argon. There is virtually no oxygen, meaning that if you stepped onto the surface without a spacesuit, you would suffocate almost instantly. Within the first second you would try to take a breath, but your lungs would be met with an absence of oxygen. Since the air pressure on Mars is less than 1% of Earth's, the oxygen already in your blood would rapidly deplete, and you would begin to lose consciousness within 10 to 15 seconds. Your body fluids, including saliva and the moisture in your eyes, would start to boil due to the low pressure. This doesn't mean you would explode, but your blood and bodily fluids would undergo rapid expansion, leading to severe swelling and tissue damage. The extreme cold, averaging -80 degrees Fahrenheit, but sometimes plunging as low as -195 degrees near the poles, would start to freeze your skin within seconds. Cosmic radiation would bombard your body due to the lack of a protective magnetic field, exposing you to levels of radiation far beyond what is safe. In short, without proper protection, 5 seconds on Mars would be enough to start catastrophic damage to your body. If you were lucky enough to be rescued and repressurized immediately, you might survive with severe injuries, but staying any longer would be fatal. Mars has about 38% of Earth's gravity. While this might seem like a minor detail compared to the lack of oxygen, it would have a profound impact on long-term human survival. In a low-gravity environment, muscles and bones weaken over time, similar to what astronauts experience on the International Space Station. Extended exposure would lead to muscle atrophy and bone loss, making simple tasks like walking difficult when returning to Earth. However, in the short term, say 5 seconds, this lower gravity would not be a major factor in survival. You would still be able to move normally, though possibly a bit more effortlessly compared to Earth. Mars is a desert world covered in dust and rock with massive canyons, extinct volcanoes and endless sand dunes. The dust on Mars is incredibly fine and contains toxic perchlorates, which can interfere with thyroid function and be harmful if inhaled or absorbed through the skin. If you were to step onto the Martian surface without protection, the combination of toxic dust, high radiation, and the lack of atmospheric pressure would be deadly. Even touching the dust and then rubbing your eyes or mouth could introduce hazardous chemicals into your body. One of the biggest challenges of surviving on Mars is radiation. Without a magnetic field like Earth's, Mars is constantly bombarded by cosmic rays and solar radiation. Even inside a protected habitat, astronauts would face significantly higher radiation exposure than on Earth, increasing their risk of cancer and other health issues. If you were exposed to Martian radiation for just 5 seconds, you wouldn't immediately feel its effects. However, prolonged exposure would be dangerous, and even short-term exposure could increase the risk of long-term health problems. A fully pressurized spacesuit would be essential. NASA and SpaceX have been developing next-generation spacesuits that provide oxygen, maintain pressure, and protect against radiation. You would need a protective habitat to shield you from radiation and maintain a livable atmosphere. Some proposed solutions include underground shelters or structures made from Martian regolith. Since Mars has no breathable air, you would need an oxygen generator. NASA's Perseverance rover has already tested MOXIE, an instrument that converts Martian CO2 into oxygen. Surviving the Martian cold would require insulated clothing and heating systems to prevent hypothermia. While Mars has frozen water beneath its surface, extracting and purifying it would be a challenge. Food production would require innovative solutions such as hydroponics and closed-loop farming systems. Despite the deadly conditions, scientists and space agencies are actively working on ways to establish a human presence on Mars. Elon Musk's SpaceX envisions a Mars colony, while NASA has plans for crewed missions in the 2030s. Technologies such as 3D printed habitats, nuclear-powered energy sources, and artificial gravity solutions are being explored to make long-term survival possible. Surviving 5 seconds on Mars without protection is impossible. The extreme cold, lack of oxygen, radiation, and low pressure would cause rapid and fatal physiological damage. However, with the right technology, spacesuits, and habitats, humans could one day live and thrive on the red planet. Mars represents both an incredible challenge and an opportunity for the future of space exploration. While the first humans to step onto Mars will face immense risks, the knowledge gained from these missions will pave the way for humanity's expansion beyond Earth. Would you take the risk to step onto Mars if given the chance? Perhaps one day the question won't be, can you survive 5 seconds on Mars? But can you build a life there?